Hello and welcome back to Bicycle Legs and another edition of Anniversary Albums. Today we're going to be looking at albums that are having a significant anniversary in the month of March 2022. Again, a reminder for anybody who's new to this series, when I say a significant anniversary, I'm talking about an anniversary that ends in a 5 or a 0. I think you'll see what I mean as we go along. Now, the first one I want to talk about is having its 50th anniversary this month. It was released on the 3rd of March 1972, and that is Music of My Mind by Stevie Wonder. Wonderful album. A lot of people call this the first album of Stevie's classic period. Personally, I would probably put that an album beforehand with Where I'm Coming From 1971. Still, this is a fabulous album. Love Having You Around is wonderful. Superwoman, lyrically, musically, wonderful. I love Every Little Thing About You, great. Sweet Little Girl, Happier Than the Morning Sun. Yeah, I mean, just great song. Evil at the end, wonderful. Yeah, great album. Also released 50 years ago in the month of March, on the 3rd of March 1972, Thick as a Brick by Jethro Tull. Ian Anderson had gotten really pissed off that a lot of people had called Aqualung a concept album when he thought that it had a few recurring themes but was still just a collection of songs. So he decided to set out and make what he called the mother of all concept albums, and boy didn't he succeed. As I said in a tweet recently, a loving parody of progressive rock that ended up becoming an iconic album of the genre. I love this album so much. Definitely in my top 5, Jethro Tull probably in my top 3. So yeah, just a terrific album. No tracks to list because it's just thick as a brick. Now, the next album we're going to talk about is having its 40th anniversary this month. It was released on the 8th of March 1982, and that is the self-titled debut by Asia. Now, say what you like about Asia. I know a lot of people don't think much of the albums that came after this. I think there are some good ones. I actually really like some of the John Payne era albums, but this is their best album. It just is. Heat of the Moment, Only Time Will Tell, Soul Survivor. I mean, yeah, Time Again, what a great song. Without You, Cutting It Fine, Here Comes the Feeling. It's a really good album. It just mixes the musicianship of progressive rock with sort of much more concise commercial songs, and I think on this first album it really is a recipe that works. Now, the next album's having its 35th anniversary. It was released on the 9th of March 1987, and it is The Joshua Tree by U2. Possibly my favourite U2 studio album. My favourite U2 album all up is probably the live Under a Blood Red Sky. I just love that. But this album, I mean, it's iconic. It took U2 from being stars to being superstars. You know, with songs like With or Without You, Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For, and Where the Streets Have No Name. I mean, they're all massive, massive hits. But you've also got One Tree Hill. You've got what's the name of the song? I can hear the song in my head. Bullet the Blue Sky, that's the one I'm looking for. Exit. Red Hill Mining Town. In God's Country. There's just so many good songs on this album. I love this U2. I love U2. After this point, I start finding their stuff a little spotty, although I've really come to love Achtung Baby in recent years. I didn't like it when it first came out. Next album is celebrating its 40th anniversary. It was released on the 15th of March 1982, and it is Shoot Out the Lights by Richard and Linda Thompson. This is an album I've only just owned a copy of in the last 2 or 3 years, and man, am I glad I own a copy of this album now, because it is their crowning achievement. It's the last album they did together before they split up, both professionally and personally. It's such a good album. Don't Renege on Our Love, Walking on a Wire, Man in Need, great song. Shoot Out the Lights is wonderful. Backstreet Slide, Did She Jump or Was She Pushed, Wall of Death. It's just really wonderful. People call this folk rock, but it's not just folk, it rocks. It's really good. Richard Thompson is such a good guitar player, and they're both great singers. Next up, celebrating its 35th anniversary in March, released on the 16th of March 1987, it is Running in the Family by Level 42. This is where they had really sort of commercialized their sound by this point, but I still think this is a really good album. I do prefer the earlier sort of jazz funk Level 42, but I still really love this album. Lessons in Love is good. Children Say, great song. Running in the Family, It's Over, probably one of their most heartbreaking ballads. Two Solitudes is a really good song, and I've always really, really loved The Sleepwalkers as a closer. On the vinyl, there's an extra song on the CD, which is Freedom Someday, which is a good song. But yeah, I really like that album. And I also love this one, celebrating its 45th anniversary, released on the 17th of March 1977, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Works Volume 1. After a nearly 3-year hiatus, they come back, they do a double album, they each get a side to do their own solo thing, and then side 4 is the 3 of them together. I adore Keith Emerson's Piano Concerto No. 1. I know you'll get sort of snooty classically trained people who'll tell you, oh, it's a derivative composition and it's this, that, and the other. I don't care. I think it's a fabulous piece of music. I love Keith's playing on it. I love the orchestrations. Greg Lake's songs are really good. Lend Your Love to Me Tonight. I always love C'est La Vie's beautiful. Hallowed Be Thy Name is great. Carl Palmer's instrumentals are really good. I really like, The Enemy God. New Orleans is great. His version of Bach's 2-part invention in D minor. And then you get the group side where you get Fanfare for the Common Man, classic Emerson, Lake and Palmer track, and Pirates. Just wonderful. Really love it. Now, the next album is celebrating its 40th anniversary. It was released on the 22nd of March 1982, and that is The Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. Classic Iron Maiden album. First album with Bruce Dickinson on vocals, taking over from Paul Di'Anno. Everybody knows the title track. Everybody knows Run to the Hills. But, there's so many other good songs on here. Children of the Damned, The Prisoner, 22 Acacia Avenue. Hallowed Be Thy Name. Oh, I love that song. Such a great album. Now, this next album is celebrating its 30th anniversary in March. It was released on the 24th of March 1992. It is one of my favourite albums by this band, and it is Apollo 18 by They Might Be Giants. Now, as much as I love vinyl, this is an album that you don't really get the full experience of unless you're listening to it on CD, because it has the track Fingertips. Now, Fingertips is broken up into a bunch of little pieces that are only a few seconds long. And on the CD, you can shuffle those and make it, which you can't do on vinyl. Obviously, you can't shuffle on vinyl. Still, this is such a killer They Might Be Giants album. Dig My Grave. What a great way to kick off an album. I Palindrome I, She's Actual Size, My Evil Twin. Statue Got Me High, Spider. Narrow Your Eyes I always loved. See the Constellation. Some really good Flansburgh songs on here. I do tend to be a bit of a Flansburgh fan. Not that I don't love John Linnell, but I love me some John Flansburgh. Turnaround's great. Hypnotist of Ladies. Fingertips. They can play that live and that blows my mind. And Spacesuit to end it. Fabulous. Definitely way up in my They Might Be Giants list. If I ever tackle that, my God, what a job that's going to be. It'll definitely be right up there. Now, the last album I want to talk about is celebrating its 50th anniversary this month. It was released on the 25th of March, 1972. It is an all-time classic. It is Deep Purple's Machine Head. I mean, what needs to be said about this album? Highway Star, Smoke on the Water, Space Truckin', Lazy, Pictures of Home, Never, it's just all killer, no filler. Great album. I don't own all the Deep Purple. I mean, not even close, but I don't even own all sort of classic 70s Deep Purple. I need to. I still think this one would be sort of number 1 or number 2 on my list. This and Deep Purple in rock. What great albums, both of them. But still, those are my anniversary albums for the month of March in 2022. I know I have missed some out because I was making this list and I was like, oh, I only want to have 10 and I've got to leave this out and I've got to leave that out. And so please, let me know in the comments, which albums did I leave out that you think I should have included? Which albums of these are your favourites? Which albums of these maybe are not your favourites so much? Again, please let me know in the comments. I love reading your comments. I really enjoy when I get comments on videos. Please like, share and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. If you're new to the channel, please go and have a look at some of my other videos. I have a bunch of these anniversary album shows, as well as ranking the album shows and a bunch of other things that you might well like. If you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, I'm at bicyclelegs. Instagram is mostly me showing off the records that I happen to be listening to at the time. Twitter, I talk about anything and everything, although I'm trying to give it more of a music focus. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.